Sex, drugs, and court battles with an 81-year-old mother? What's happening? Today we are digging into the collective legal troubles of the good old Pawn Stars gang. And we even have some new information on some ongoing lawsuits. You all probably know Rick and Corey Harrison and their lovable sidekick Chumlee from their pretty awesome History Channel show.
Said to be the result of gradual drop in testosterone.
Okay, my testosterone is fine. I am not going through menopause.
But what you might not know is that the drama continues off the air too. When Rick, Corey, and Chumlee are not dealing with the drama of negotiating deals on the show, they are dealing with their own incredibly messy lives. So which Pawn Star was caught drunk driving after swerving into a bike lane at 2 a.m.? Who had a team of police officers raid his house, and why? We're gonna answer all this and much more today, but before we begin, please hit that thumbs up icon to show your support. And make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you never miss a good deal. Now let's move on to the dark side of Pawn Stars to find out. What happened? Corey Harrison's DUI. On September 8th, 2023, Corey Big Hoss Harrison was pulled over by a member of the Las Vegas Police Department after he swerved into the bike lane while driving his white Ford F-250 truck. The incident occurred at around 2 a.m. The cop who pulled him over reported that Corey's eyes were bloodshot and that there was a strong smell of alcohol coming from his truck. Corey had flown back to Las Vegas from Minnesota earlier that day, where he had been filming an episode of Pawn Stars Do America. After the cop asked him if he had been drinking, he admitted to the policeman that he had one drink on the plane about 7 hours earlier. Once he heard that information, the cop asked Corey to perform a field sobriety test. So the officer had Corey walk in a straight line on the road, but the officer reported that Corey had trouble keeping his footing while attempting to walk in that straight line, and thus he failed that test. After Corey could not walk that straight line, the cop asked him to take a blood test to check the alcohol levels in his blood. Apparently, the breathalyzer machine was broken, so Corey agreed to do a blood test. The results of that blood test have not been published, but he was arrested after the results came in. Although he admitted to having that one drink way earlier in the day, Corey thinks that his DUI arrest was unjustified. He claimed he only failed the field sobriety test because he had a bad infection on his shin, which, I don't know. He also said he believes that these tests are designed for you to fail. So we want to know, what do you think? Corey Harrison's license was not suspended after the incident, and he apparently is planning to hire a Vegas-based attorney to help him fight back, because he believes it was an unjust arrest and an unwarranted stain on his reputation. And I don't know, it all sounds a bit murky. The breathalyzer was broken, we never got the result of the blood test. Get in the comments and tell us what you think. Chumlee's drug and gun charges. So back in March of 2016, Chumlee was accused of sexual assault, and as a result of that, the police opened up an investigation on Chumlee, whose real name is actually Austin Lee Russell. So if you're ever on Jeopardy, well, now you know. As part of that investigation, police officers served a search warrant at Chumlee's apartment and searched the premises. Yeah, sounds like a rough day to me too. And they found a number of different illegal drugs, including methamphetamine, cocaine, and marijuana, and one illegal firearm. Wow, Chumlee, maybe the drugs were affecting the deals. Well, as a result, Chumlee was arrested on 20 felony charges. This was a horrible day for Chumlee, even worse than the time he lost 10 grand on that fake baseball card. Remember that? So 19 of the charges were for drug possession, and one was a weapons charge. Because Chumlee had so much drugs in the apartment, the authorities believed he might have been distributing them. Whether he was or not is up for speculation. He was rich and famous already, so why would he need to do that? But following Chumlee's arrest, he of course had to deal with the criminal justice system. Rather than trying to prove his innocence in court, which would have been tough, Chumlee decided to take a plea deal. With his plea deal, Chumlee pled guilty to one felony weapons charge and an attempted drug possession misdemeanor. This plea deal proved to be a shrewd move for the Pawn Star because it did keep him out of jail, instead of having to go through what could have been a lengthy prison sentence. Chumlee was instead sentenced to counseling and 3 years probation. Now, you might be wondering, was Chumlee ever charged with that original sexual assault? After all, that is the whole reason why the police raided his apartment. Well, the answer is no. Even though police officers found an abundance of illegal substances in his apartment, they were unable to find any concrete evidence of sexual assault, and thus Chumlee was never charged. In fact, very little is actually known about Chumlee's sexual assault accusations. This is because once police found all the drugs and weapons in his house, it overshadowed the other allegations, and the focus shifted to his drugs and weapons charge. Now, Chumlee completed his probation back in 2019. Now, he has paid his debt to society and once again operates as a free man. And in case you were wondering, yes, Chumlee did end up getting married to a woman named Olivia Radiman. However, it's unclear whether they are still together because they both removed photos of each other from their individual social media accounts. Rick Harrison sued by his own mother. Now, although Rick might be viewed as the voice of reason on Pawn Stars, and although he has made many of the best and most famous deals on the show, that doesn't mean he has avoided all difficult legal situations of his own. In fact, some would say the legal trouble Rick has gotten himself into is even more severe and complicated than Corey or Chumlee's arrests, as Rick Harrison is currently deeply embroiled in a contentious lawsuit with his own 81-year-old mother. That's right, Rick Harrison's mom, Joanne, is suing him over a dispute regarding ownership of both family assets and the ownership of the gold and silver pawn shop that serves as the set for the famous show. Joanne Harrison and her attorneys filed the lawsuit in Nevada State Court. In addition to Rick Harrison, the business entities Harrison Properties, Joe Rich Properties have also been named as defendants. There are other defendants as well. But in that lawsuit she filed, Joanne has made some outrageous claims. For example, she claimed Rick made her sign over 51% interest in the gold and silver pawn shop. But the timing of that is the interesting part. She says it was right after she woke up from a coma in 2001. She claimed that due to her medical condition, she didn't fully understand what she was signing, and that Rick essentially tricked her into giving up ownership of the pawn shop. Rick's father was also featured heavily on the show, but he died back in 2018. After he died, Joanne, who had been married to him for 58 years, inherited her 49% share of the pawn shop. But Joanne claims her son had not provided her with all the documentation of the finances of the business. Because of this, she says there is over $500,000 worth of assets like silver and cash that she is just unable to account for. She says her husband accumulated these assets before he died, and that Rick is essentially hiding them from her. If Joanne wins this lawsuit against her son, Rick could be facing substantial financial losses that could take a major toll on his overall net worth. In addition to a full accounting of all assets, Joanne's lawsuit seeks unspecified damages. So we don't even know exactly how much money Joanne will attempt to recover in the suit.
Pardon the expression, you're talking out of your ass. Now do me a favor, shut up.
Now, as you can imagine, this lawsuit is probably highly distressing for Rick. Not only is his own mama suing him, but now his integrity has been publicly called into question, as well as his business practices. This has got to be quite a difficult period of time for him. And no, we don't exactly know who is telling the truth here. Speaking about his mother's allegations against him, Rick has stated that he believes all the allegations are false. He believes his 81-year-old mom is being manipulated by a number of other people who are trying to benefit financially from her. The lawsuit against Rick has not come at a good time for the entrepreneur. That's because the gold and silver pawn shop took a major hit during the 2020 shutdown. In fact, during 2020, the pawn shop only generated $37 grand in revenue. Normally, the business does over $1 million in profits per year. So, the reduced profits during the shutdown add even more stress to circumstances surrounding this lawsuit, and And to make matters worse, Rick's mother filed a temporary restraining order against him to try to prevent him from selling off the assets that she believes belong to her. Apparently, Rick used to send Joanne regular 25 grand payments in order to compensate her for the share of the business. However, these payments allegedly stopped in 2020, further putting Joanne in a challenging financial situation of her own. Now that the shutdown is over and the famous pawn shop is thriving once again, Joanne is trying to have those payments restarted. And so she is using the court system to try and force Rick to restart those payments, as he apparently has been refusing to do so until now. The restraining order that Joanne filed also prevents Rick from diminishing Joanne's interest in the pawn shop business in any way. This includes concealing cash assets, transferring cash assets, and much more. Now, Joanne also has a wide variety of health issues that require a substantial amount of treatment and care and dough. In fact, Joanne requires 24-hour care and supervision. The cost for this kind of intensive medical care can be upwards of $15,000 a month. In the restraining order that she filed against her son, Joanne stated that Rick is able to enjoy a comfortable life as a celebrity and is in complete control of the family's finances and business, but she constantly has to worry whether or not she will be able to stay afloat each month, considering the high costs of her medical care. Rick claims he didn't even know about the restraining order that his mother filed, saying that he only found out about it through the media, like us. Rick is also confused about certain aspects of the lawsuit that his mom filed. For example, he claimed his mother already owns 100% of the businesses that she filed a lawsuit against. He also claims he has been regularly reaching out to her to try to discuss the issue, but she is not being responsive. In other words, Rick is claiming that he has been trying to resolve the issue, but that his mom is not being cooperative. Apparently, Joanne would rather fight it out in court than try to settle the matter privately. Could this be because she doesn't fully trust her son? Or is it like what Rick says? Is she being manipulated by third parties? And who could those people be? It's unfortunate how families can fight over such things as money. And seriously, we do hope for the best for everyone involved. It looks like Rick is going to have to call in the expert to help him here. Only this time, the expert is going to be a skilled attorney instead of a random bearded guy with a profound knowledge of historical items. So, what happens now? So now that this lawsuit is very much up in the air, a lot of people, especially his fans, are wondering what will happen to Rick and the pawn shop. Over the years, Rick has amassed an impressive net worth. This is thanks to a number of factors, such as his television show, the pawn shop business he owns and runs, investments he makes, and other businesses he owns. Rick has proven over the years he is an excellent businessman. However, now that his mother is suing him for an unspecified amount of money, it's very possible he could lose a substantial part of his net worth if he loses the suit. Given the fact that Rick's mom does not seem willing to speak with him to resolve the matter, it looks likely that this matter will go to court and will get resolved there. And in a worst-case scenario for Rick, he could potentially lose control of the pawn shop and his mom could take over the business. However, it is unclear whether or not Rick's mother would even have any interest in running the business. She is 81 after all. She has not appeared regularly on the Pawn Stars show, and Rick, Corey, Chumley, and formerly the Old Man, they're responsible for running the pawn shop. And if you're a fan of the show, you certainly know that.
I'm gonna kick your butt, Tom.
Can you threaten to kick me in a funnier way?
So, if Joanne does regain a controlling interest in the pawn shop, it's not clear what would happen to the business itself, the TV show, or any of the other businesses that are related to the pawn shop itself. So the bottom line is that even though Corey and Chumley both had their run-ins with the law, as of this moment, it appears Rick is the one facing the most serious legal troubles. Oh yeah, Joanne's lawsuit is also looking into the meaning of an unspecified $3 million loan that apparently Rick took out. So it appears if there are any mysteries regarding Rick's business practices, Joanne is trying to get to the heart of that. If you're a fan of Pawn Stars and the Harrison family, then you might be sad to see all this turmoil happening with the Harrison clan. After all, a mother suing her own son is very difficult to deal with for everyone involved. And Mom, if you're listening to this, cool it, okay? The Hess trucks are mine. Honestly, this is a perfect example of why most people prefer not to mix business and family. But even though the situation is very tense right now between Rick and his mother, it is still possible that everything could be resolved in a peaceful manner. Time will tell exactly what happens with this legal dispute. But for now, Pawn Stars looks like a real-life version of Succession. But hey, Succession is a great TV show and is winning a slew of awards, so hey, maybe that's not too bad.
But I've always tried to do the best by them because I love them.
Alright, that's enough for me. Now we need to hear from you. Which of these Pawn Stars is your favorite on the show? What do you think of their legal troubles? Do you think Rick did what his mom accused him of? Or is Mom just senile and losing it? Please get in the comments and tell us all your thoughts. If you enjoyed our deep dive of the Pawn Stars legal issues, please hit that thumbs up icon to show your support. Subscribe to our channel and come back often so we can keep telling you
What happened?